Welcome back to the series where I talk about my video game backlog and how much progress I've made on it. Last week's video was so long that overall I really didn't spend a ton of time playing games this week, since much of my free time was instead spent trying to make the video turn out the way I wanted. Ultimately, I was really happy with how it turned out, and if you haven't seen it for some reason, I would really appreciate if you went and checked it out. I'm still learning, so my video editing is a slow process right now, but as time goes on and I get a better hang of the method and the program, I sincerely believe I will be able to edit my videos more efficiently and thus be able to have more time playing games and doing other stuff I need to do, I guess. To address the ever awaiting elephant in the room, yes, I did finally complete the last achievement, Ragnarok, in Abiotic Factor. While grinding out this last achievement, I was doing my rounds of slaughter, and the exact last enemy I was going to kill before logging off happened to be the one that gave me the achievement, which felt so nice. Overall, I had a lot of fun playing this game, and some really silly moments came out of it. It does get very grindy at points, so if you can, I would highly recommend playing with friends. Additionally, I was able to play more of the Spell Brigade this week, for about an hour. I didn't get any achievements, but that is a-okay. I had a fun time playing, and that's what matters. Once again, I spent a ton of time editing the last video, so I was not able to play any of the following games, which are all things I said I would do this week: Dredge, Bioshock, Borderlands 2, and Deltarune. I'm hoping to get this video out much faster than the last one, especially since it should be nowhere near as long, so I might be able to make some progress on these this upcoming week. Even with the amount of time editing, there was a couple of new games I picked up or revisited, which I will spotlight those here. Have you ever wanted to play a rhythm-based party game? Then boy do I have the game for you. Headbangers Rhythm Royal is a boppin', groovin' game where you play as a pigeon completing a series of mini-games. The game is super fun, and really the only downside of it is that there's basically no player base for it. The two achievements I got this week while playing were Greedy and Private Headbanger over the hour and a half I spent on this game. I absolutely think this game is a blast, and if you can get a friend or two to pick it up and queue with, it is a riot of a time. My friend Rye also introduced me to Warframe this week, and I spent just over 3 hours playing. 1 hour was just me looking at all the Warframes and going, ooh, ah. But in the remaining time, I got the following achievements: Counterintelligence, Agent, Practice Makes Perfect, No Longer a Rookie, Payday, Pole Weapon of Proficiency 1, Bow Proficiency 1, Shuriken Proficiency 1, and Nest Egg. The starting Warframe I chose was Volt, and I really like the sneaky, stealthy playstyle I've been using with him so far. I think this game is absolutely gorgeous. The movement feels super fluid, and I think this will be a title that I regularly come back to. Next up, I was finally convinced to install Roblox, and I started a game called Dandy's World. I'm not tracking how much time I spend on this, because I don't want to, and there isn't exactly progression to talk about. There are some badges in the game that essentially function as achievements, but I'm not too pressed about getting them, as this is mostly a de-stress nonsense game for me. Yes, it is a fun little horror game in Roblox that I am saying is a de-stress game. Leave me alone about it. The spring Easter event is going on right now, so I hope I can get some of the different tunes and their skins before the event ends. I will probably only mention this game in my future videos if something notable happens with it. And lastly, for my new games this week, the big project I mentioned in my last video, the massive reveal, drum roll please, I am doing a Persona day-by-day playthrough challenge. But oh ho ho, It is a little different than your usual day-by-day challenge, in that I am insane and going to be doing Persona 3 Reload, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal all at the same time. At the end of all three, I'm going to make a long-form video properly talking about this, how I felt about it, and the challenges I faced while doing it. But for the purpose of these videos, I will just mention the story beats I hit each week, thoughts on the game overall, and what achievements I get. Obviously, these sections will have spoilers for each of the games, so you have been warned. Persona 3 Reload begins on April 6th, so this week I only got 2 days of gameplay done. This took me just about an hour of playtime, and I haven't even gotten to the Dark Hour reveal yet. I have watched the movies for Persona 3 and read some of the relating manga, but I haven't touched Reload the game at all, so I'm going in with the major beats known, but the minor beats completely blind. I never even played Portable or FES, so I am excited to dive more into the story. From the get-go, the game sets itself up to having a very dark tone. However, overall, I would say it has a lot more of a cheery vibe than Persona 5, at least in the initial first 2 days. And setting my attachment to certain tracks aside, I do think they did a phenomenal job with the remastered music as well. Persona 4 Golden doesn't start until April 11th, so I didn't touch on that game this week. No notes about it here other than I have played this before, but have never finished. And yes, I have seen the anime. And then my beloved Persona 5 Royal. I was a silly little goose, and the thing I was looking at showed the wrong start date for this game, so I started it this week even though the game actually starts on April 9th. Once I got to a place where I could see the date and subsequently save, I stopped playing. I will pick this up properly on the 9th and finish out the rest of that day. It took me 30 minutes of playtime to reach a point where I could properly save, so that was how much time I spent on it this week. I have played Persona 5 Royal before, spending a considerable amount of time on it. My first playthrough was on the PlayStation, and that's the only platform I've beaten it on so far. I did start a playthrough on the Steam version, but I didn't get very far, so if it seems like I miss a few achievements in my videos when I talk about this, I promise I'm not skipping over them on purpose. I've just already gotten them before starting this series. So, all in all, from this week of progress, here's what my stats were at the end of last week, and here's what they were at the end of this week. One more thing I wanted to bring up before I go into what my game plan is for the upcoming week, and I kind of alluded to this in my previous video, is one of the big reasons I wanted to start this series. In my introduction video, I talked about a few different reasons. Go check it out if you want to see what those are, but one reason I didn't mention is this: computer storage space. To put it plainly, I have a serious problem with uninstalling games that I feel aren't completed. I know that if I uninstall something, then I am significantly less likely to play it because I'm going to have to take the time to reinstall it. Because of this, and how many games I've obtained over the years, my computer storage is looking pretty rough. I have about, at the time of writing this script, 55 gigabytes of free space. That number is only that high because I had to uninstall 3 games last week so that I could render last week's video. I did not even have enough free space on my computer to render the video. That was another reason why I was so excited to finish Abiotic Factor and uninstall it. At the time of completing that game, I had only 25 gigabytes of free space. After uninstalling, it brought me up to 30 gigabytes across my 3 drives. I know what you're gonna say. Dude, just uninstall games you haven't played in a while, and reinstall when you're ready to play them. Yes, I understand that this is a problem of my own creating, and have started to ease the death grip in my mind about how it feels wrong, and bad, and terrible to uninstall games with the idea of, well, I can always reinstall later. However, there is still a ton of games that I have installed, some of which are absolutely massive, and I really would like to play them to experience their stories and challenges. So, This really was another major contributing factor for me in starting this series. It really does make me feel accomplished to see progress on that goal. On the note of progress, I think it would be fun to do a little monthly check in as well. So, here's a quick rundown of how things have progressed since I started this series. I have completely finished 2 games since starting these videos, removing them from the backlog. I have started 5 new games, things that I've never played before. I've revisited 10 games, titles that I have previously picked up and never completed. I have personally bought 4 games and have received an undisclosed amount of games from others. My new backlog total is at 329 games, which is still a massive number. And this is not even acknowledging how many games are on my Steam wishlist, as that is a very dark and forsaken land. With that little overview complete, now we can move on to what my plans for next week are. I'm going to start Bioshock for sure this upcoming week, and obviously I am going to play more of Persona 3 Reload, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal. Other than those games, though, I don't have anything set in stone for this upcoming week, and I'm kind of just of the mindset to play whatever I want since I'm picking up some really structured gameplay. Once I settle into that routine, though, I will probably start planning out my upcoming weeks a little bit more meticulously. If you made it all the way here to this end segment, then you, my beautiful little grub, are amazing, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next one. Duck out. So my first day working as the evil overlord's goon henchman, he told me to just stand in front of a platform.